screen for you guys. This is the Bandai Tamashii Nations Mando and Grogu. Which I remember when they announced this. It's really fucking cool. I love the fact that Grogu has his little hair going on there, which is cool. Now, I don't think that I've ever opened... What did I open? I don't think that I've ever opened one of these before, so this will be very interesting to see. So, are we considering that? Let's see. It's movie realization. Here's the back of the box, by the way. I don't need to be the only person looking at that. He's got his little carriage going on here with the little Grogu there. Some accessories. Really cool stuff. So we're gonna... And we are opening this, Avi, right? Alright. I'll take that as a yes. Alright, so let's get this open. Do you have more tape? No. Let's just cut both pieces of tape. So this is Bandai Tamashii Nations movie realization. Mando with Grogu. Samurai Mando with Grogu. So it has a little thing here in Japanese. It's got a lot of... Now, we're probably not going to do every single little piece of this, but we're definitely going to take a look at the figures, take a look at the articulation. This is what it looks like inside the package. I definitely don't want to lose anything, so be careful with that. Let's get Grogu out of here first. So here's his little tram that we can turn into a carriage. A little push cart carriage here. Comes with a little push cart. You can just drop that right in there. And that'll be his little carriage. Here is Grogu. It's so funny. There's this little hair. Call it his Padawan braid for now. There's no articulation on that, by the way. His head can look back and forth. He can do a little bit of a decent amount back and a little bit forward. Be careful with this. That is one solid piece and that does not move. Here's his little arms. I don't want to force that. Hold on. Doing it off screen for a second. There you go. Here's his arm going forward a little bit. He's got little feet. Look at his little feet. Cute little feet going on there. His waist, you can get him not in quite a sitting position, probably enough of a sitting position for him to sit in that carriage. It's kind of like a separate piece here. There's like 3 pieces going on here. So there's the upper robe, and then there's the center part, and then there's another piece underneath going on there. So you actually can get a decent amount of waist action going on there, just because it is 3 pieces. His feet, they might spin, but I don't want to mess with it because, like I said, it's not mine. All right, let's get him in his little thing. Oh yeah, he can sit in such an angle that he's good to go in that thing. There's Grogu chilling in his little tram. That's really cute. All right, moving on to Mando. Kind of just slides out of there. They put these little plastic pieces in between the articulation on some of these parts. So just so you know, if you're ever repackaging one. Just get this piece. There's one under his skirt as well. Smells good. All right. So here is Mando. Really cool looking helmet. This is Ronin helmet. Interesting shape. Really good stuff. That's dope as hell. Shoulder pads are really cool. He does have the mud horn on there. And there's his chest plate. Couple extra. I mean, I would call them bullets, but I don't think they're actually bullets. Maybe just like his little darts going on there. He has spots for swords. I think you can holster one sword in the back and then one in the front. It's like a little knife area. Here's his skirt. He's got like little like numbers on them. Oh, are they numbers? They might just be knots. I don't know if they're supposed to be notches or knots. I guess it's just the braiding, the way the braiding looks. They got really cool like shin pads going on here. Whatever thigh pads. That's a thigh, not a shin. And then the texturing of like this is a hard plastic, but it doesn't look like it because it's nice molded texturing going on here. It looks really good. You can see it under any of the armor plated pieces there. And then the boots. Look at the boots. Look how good the boots are. You can see the little toes going on there. It's like a sandally look, but it's like clearly like a boot going on here. This piece is a separate piece here, so as to not hinder articulation. You got more little bolts on his shins and all that. Really cool. That's dope. Let's take a look at some of the accessories, and then we'll go through Mando's articulation, and then we'll try to get some accessories on him, and then set him up with Grogu. See how all that looks together. So I'm gonna do an overview within the box. I'm not gonna take everything out of the box because I don't want to lose anything. So he has extra hands here, and then he has this jetpack, which I will take out. He's got his rifle. He's got a sword with a sheath, and he has a nice little like musket-looking blaster, which will get the weapons out for sure. But I'm not going to take all the hands out. All right, so let's take a look at the jetpack first. I also want to see if this jetpack makes him back heavy at all. Here's a look at the jetpack. That's really cool. A nice like steam. It's very steampunk looking. Very cool. Would have been nice to maybe have a blast effect to come along with this, just based on how many accessories Bandai typically gives you, but still, whatever. It still looks good. As far as popping this in the back, there you go. You can peg that right into the back to really complete that look. That looks really cool. Look how good the back looks now with all that going on. Great sculpting on this. Nice detailing. A lot of like bolts and braids and ropes and stitches and all kinds of cool things going on. Very interested in getting into the articulation on him. Here is the rifle. Very nice take on this rifle. It has like the bolt action going on here, which is really cool. I don't think you can move that, right? Oh, it actually might move. There's a little bit of movement there. There's a little bit of movement there. Yeah, really cool. That's the thing about these movie realization, where they basically turn everybody into samurais. They just do such a good job of doing a samurai take on all these characters, which is really cool. And here is the blaster. Really cool look to that blaster. It's got like the little wire going on there. Just like I said, just really steampunk looking stuff right there. And then here is the samurai sword, this katana. Not the biggest katana, not huge, but it looks good. Nothing crazy. You know, he's already very flashy, so we don't need this to be too flashy. And then it has this sheath for it as well. So you can sheath it in there, and then let's see. They're supposed to be. I guess you just put it in the back. It might be that you have to do this if you want to sheath this. You would put to maybe take the. Let's see. If I take the backpack off, there is a little area for that. Hmm. Oh, you know what? You can put it up on the side here. My bad. Hold on. Let's get this um, set up again so you guys can see what I'm doing with this. So here we go. In his belt, he has a little spot to sheath the sword, and then yeah, obviously we'll be able to like reach over. I'll do a pose like that with him as well. I think other than hands, that's all the accessories. So I'm gonna move this box over here. We got a little more room to operate here. So here's the musket. Well, I guess he has these fisted hands on now, so I'm gonna swap these out for more of hands that can hold something. Those are very much fisted hands. He has. This is probably more of a grabby hand. All right, I guess we're gonna mess around with the hands. You got trigger fingers, you got grabby hands. Well, it's not that much accessory, so we won't lose everything. All right, let's pop these hands off and see how easily that works. Oh yeah, that's real easy, real simple. They're just small little pegs that you pop them on. Sorry, those hands off. You can see it's just that little piece, and then this is the piece that it pegs into. So nice, easy hand swaps on this. Let's go with a trigger finger on this side. Oh, easy. Now the thing that always threw me off with some of these was getting that back in there. You definitely might want to heat up. Oh no, it works. It was an easy hand swap. I just get nervous because if it was my figure, I'd be like, obviously, I'd still want it to not break or anything like that, but I just don't want to break somebody else's figure. But this is easy hand swapping going on here. All right, let's get into some articulation. I'm going to take this sword off just so we can mess around with some of the articulation on him, and then we'll get him showing off some accessories, doing some poses, and then hanging out with Grogu. All right, so here's your look up. We have multiple articulation points going on here. So there's one at the head and then one below the head at the neck. So you got a lot of up and down. Even with this piece blocking, you're still getting a lot of up and down articulation here on that neck. This piece is kind of wanting to move around a little bit. It can peg in. Peg in? Yeah, it came like unpegged. So there's like a way to peg this in if you see this there. You can peg these back in so that this plate won't move as much, but the back of this head is going to move that out of place. So just keep an eye on that and know that you can kind of like peg that in and out once you get him into whatever pose you want to settle him into. And then obviously you can look left and right. I'm sure this can spin all the way around as well. For his shoulders, he has this shoulder pad that has its own separate articulation, and I believe it's on a ball peg of its own. And then you obviously can get your range of motion going up and down like that as well. I assume that if you take this off, you could probably go all the way up with that. He has a nice ball joint in his elbow here. And then there's an extra joint to rotate even more. Right? Am I crazy? Or is that a separate piece? Oh no, that's not a separate piece. Sorry about that. And then obviously you can go up and down that way, like that. But yeah, plenty of articulation there. He has a horizontal. No, he has a vertical. But this is on a ball, so if you want to move it, you can just basically get this going in whatever direction you want it to, and then you can do the you can like set the articulation point where you want it to be. All right, for the waist, this belt, his gun belt or whatever, kind of not really getting in the way too much. You can still do a nice rotation there and there. He also does have the butterflies in his shoulders, so you can see there's an extra piece of articulation going on there. As far as doing splits, the only thing hindering him is his armor from doing a complete split. As far as thigh, there's not. No, it's not an upper thigh cut here. It's not a set. This is all one solid piece of thigh here. And then the knees, obviously, we got double knee here. You got an articulation point here and an articulation point there. And then you can do rotation. Really, more up here is where your rotation is going to come from. And then you can spin the legs, the ankle all the way around, up and down. And there is an ankle pivot there. It's another one of those things where you got to like set that joint where you want it to be. So yeah, really good articulation going on there for sure. All right, let's mess around with some of his accessories. So I think the first thing we want to see is let's get him gunslinging. And that was really easy to get that in there. These are nice, and it's not a hard plastic. It's a hard enough plastic that it'll keep its shape, but it does have a decent amount of give to it where you can bend it and really get that stuff in there. And you can see his trigger finger just slid right in there. So that's like literally perfectly proportioned to go right where it needs to go. There he is with his little blaster. And now I just would like to see him with his rifle. One second, let me do this part off screen because I don't want to break it. Okay, there's his rifle in his hand. So the way that I went and did that was I just started here at this tip and then fed the hand all the way through to it because it'll give better that way, and it just ended up working out better that way. And then I guess we're gonna put his hand on this piece right here. His other hand on that piece as like a little. No, maybe not. No, I would say put it where you normally would think to put it, up here. It's just a really long gun to negotiate. But yeah, that looks really good. Maybe let's get him like in a. One of those. There you go. That was simple enough. Balance is really good. And there's so many easy points of articulation that do hold their articulation. I'm thinking that it makes it easy to just kind of get it where it needs to be, and then it'll stay there. I think that's the advantage of the Bandai stuff right there. So I definitely am liking that for sure. All right, let's get a little sword action going on here, right? I think we like this pose here with the gun, but I would like to see him interact with a sword for sure, because that's what samurais do. Now, is there anywhere to holster this? I guess you would put it where the jetpack can go. Yeah, it can peg right into his back like that, and that looks cool. But the only problem with that is that you then cannot put his backpack on him, so you have to put his backpack somewhere else. But you can peg this right into his back right there. And then let's get him going with maybe like a two-handed sword pose. Let's see, give me this one here. Or maybe about fending off and holding his rifle and holding his little revolver. There's gunslinger vibes right there with a little samurai touch to it. Let's get that going. There you go. Look at that. And look at the nice shine that we have coming off the light. That's really dope. That's really dope stuff. And then we got Grogu here. We're defending Grogu. Got his backpack. He's got his extra hands. Good stuff. Really cool. Definitely a treat. Thank you, Avi, for letting me take a look at this figure. I mean, I remember when it was announced. I've seen a lot of these throughout the years, but I've never actually opened one. So definitely nice to be able to interact with that for sure. So there you go.